The fact is that our comfort is not the most important thing in this world. God's glory is. I don't always give titles to these sections we've been looking at, but this one I couldn't resist. I would title this Taught by Signs, and I'll explain in a minute. Let me read John 9, 1 through 7. As he passed by, he saw a blind man from birth, and the disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, It was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me. While it is day, night is coming when no one can work. As long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. Having said these things, he spit on the ground and made mud with the saliva. Then he anointed the man's eyes with mud and said to him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. As we've been studying our way through John, we have talked about the word that John uses for miracles, signs. A sign is something that is meant to point you to something else. And so this sign of the healing of the blind man, Jesus uses to teach us three significant things. That's why I named this Taught by Signs. Here's the first one. People don't generally suffer as a punishment for their sin. It's not what the Bible teaches. The typical reason we suffer is because we live in a miserably fallen world that does not function the way God intended. Romans 8 says this world is groaning itself, the physical world, waiting for redemption. Because this world is our address, this broken world, suffering will somehow, some way enter our door. There's a second thing. When it comes to this man suffering blindness, John says something that's radical and provocative. Fasten your seatbelt. John says that God allowed this to happen to him so that his glory would be revealed. Now think about this. In his holy and wise providence, God will allow us to suffer in order that his glory will be revealed. Not all suffering is a result of sin and Satan. This confronts us with the way that many of us think about life. The fact is that our comfort is not the most important thing in this world. God's glory is. The cross teaches us that God can and is willing to bring very good things out of very bad things. There is nothing more beautiful in life than having your heart and life changed because you have seen the glory of God and have been liberated by your bondage to your own glory. You see, the problem for all of us is that sin makes us all glory thieves. We steal God's glory and we want glory for ourselves. So God revealing his glory is a beautiful thing, and often the way he does that is by putting us through things we would never want to go through. But they become an occasion where we come to know God at a deeper, fuller, more profound way. That has been my experience in suffering as well. Third thing Jesus says is this miracle is used to reveal the faithless hearts of the Pharisees. Although this miracle reveals the messianic glory of Jesus, because he's doing something that only God can do, the Pharisees keep going after the man he healed to get him to say that whoever gave him sight couldn't possibly be the Messiah. And here again, we're confronted with the truth that no matter how powerful the evidence is, True life-changing faith is always the gift of God. God has to act in grace toward us before we can transact in faith toward Him. Jesus had lapped miracle upon miracle upon miracle, and the Pharisees still did not believe. So in one miracle, we are pointed to a theology of suffering, the fact that God is at center and we are not and will never be, and that God has zeal to show us His glory, and that faithfulness in the face of evidence is only solved by the rescuing grace of Jesus.